Hey there, I'm so excited to paint with you today. So you are going to want to gather up all of the supplies from your art kit, and you're going to want to make sure you have on some comfy clothes or an apron, something. It doesn't matter if you get paint on, covered paint surface, and of course you need your paints, your brushes, a water cup, not in your favorite cup, right? And we can get started. Now, I just want to give you a little pointer. So I have lots of ideas and tips and suggestions for you, but that does not mean that's how you have to do it exactly. It's just the way I know best, and so that's how I am going to teach you. Now, just because I do something a certain way doesn't mean you can't tweak it just a little, right? You are your own special artist, so you do you. I'm just here to help you along the way. Remember, you can pause me or start me at any time, and rewind it if you need to, right? If you missed something. So here we are. Let's get started. I will be switching between camera screens so that way you guys can get a close-up on what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Now, I did already put all my paints on my plate. Don't do that. Leave yours in your container. That way, if you don't use all of them, you can just put the lid back on and use it for another day. Or you could paint your tote bag, right? Your cute little Artsy Rose tote bag. That way, it's personalized and you get to use all your paints, or you could save them for a future paint project. Just make sure that you wipe the rim off the top, like wipe the paint off the rim before you put the lid on. That way the lid doesn't get stuck on there, okay? So I've got my napkins and my brushes and my water cup, which we already talked about. Here we go. All right, guys, so I am going to start with one of my biggest brushes. You can choose whichever you prefer, whatever is most comfortable, okay? And I like to start with the background first, and then I'll move forward to more of the foreground stuff. Now, I'm going to stick with the traditional purple for my background. Now, if you wanted to lighten your purple some, you could put some white on your paint plate, just like that. Now you got to make sure you make enough though if you're making your own color, right? And then I could put a little bit of purple in there at a time until I like it. So you guys can add as much of that in there as you want, but this makes it not quite so bold, plus it makes it not so see-through. So I'm going to scrape all the extra off because we don't want too much on there. I'm going to hold it just like I hold my pencil. Some people do 2 finger on top. Some people just do 1 finger on top. And I am going to outline around the whole design. But what I do is I just outline a little, fill in, outline a little, fill in. Now, the nice thing about these big brushes is the bristles are still pretty stiff on them, even though they're bigger brushes. So it's really okay to use a big brush to outline, but if it's too tricky when you're trying to squeeze in these tight spaces, then definitely, you know, use a smaller brush to outline and then switch to the big guy to fill in. When we're filling in, I just like to sort of sweep and swirl to get all this filled in, just like so. Here we go. Awesome. And like I said, you could use either big brush, whichever one you like better, okay? There we go. Now, I do like to do my edges as well, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the very top, just like so. And then I'll bring it down both sides as well. Now, make sure that you're extra careful and you don't get this on your clothes because it will not wash out of your clothes unless you go straight to the sink and try to scrub it out, maybe like with some Dawn dish soap, all right? So we're gonna get this all down the left side, all down the right side. And then at some point, we have to remember to flip it upside down, so don't let me forget. And we can get that bottom edge as well. Okay, so now that I've gotten that much outlined and filled in, I can go back and do some more outlining and filling in. Here we go. Just like so. Ta-da. Awesome. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Now, if we accidentally get a little bit where we don't mean to, you can actually take your napkin, wrap it around your finger, dip it in clean water, and then rub an oopsie clean. So let me show you what I mean. For example, right here, take part of my napkin here. Right here at the bottom, you probably can't even tell, I got a little paint there and I didn't mean to. So I wrap my napkin up and then I can just rub that clean, just like so. Ta-da! And it makes it go away. So any oopsies you can just clean right off, just like that. Or let them dry and just paint over it. I don't ever really stress about oopsies because I know that I can paint right over it with my other acrylic paint that's going to go there. There we go. We'll get that very bottom, just like so. And then we got to do, let's see, right in here. Now, you may want to use your baby brush, my friends. This may be a lot smarter to get in those tight areas with our BB brush. And you can pick whichever one you like the best. I kind of like the small one that has a flat tip on it. But you can use one of the small ones with a pointy tip as well. Now, potentially, we could actually paint all of that yellow in there. So if you don't like the idea of painting it all in with purple, we could paint the whole crown in yellow and just make some of these grooves a little bit darker. So really, it's up to you. You are your own special artist, so you get to tweak it how you want it, right? There we go. Awesome sauce. And right in here, tight little squeeze. All right, in here. I have been teaching at camps at the studio, and so I am totally losing my voice. There we go. So again, the smaller brush works great for squeezing in smaller areas or outlining, and the bigger brush works great for bigger areas, right? There we go. All right. So slowly but surely, we'll get it all filled in here, okay? So, outline and fill in. The background is really not very exciting usually on most paintings, but it is important that we take our time and kind of go slow and be thoughtful with the process. So that way when we paint the emphasis or the main idea, it's just going to look a lot nicer and a lot better if we have a very calm, thought out, careful background. So yes, the background's not as fun because it's not as, many colors, although you could totally make this background super colorful if you wanted to. That's the awesome thing about art is you get to personalize it how you want it. And then you get, your own design that's special for you, that your personality just kind of shines right through. So here we go. These movies, by the way, are super good. I have seen all of them and I like all of them. I'm not really sure which one's my favorite. First one is really good, you know. Sometimes it's hard to beat the first of any series. There we go. Now, if there's any spots that are kind of see-through and you want to darken them up a little, you could definitely go back around and add a quick little second coat if you wanted to. Don't have to, though. Just optional. Just optional. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Superb. All right. So we got all of that on there. It looks fabulous. So now we can start thinking about doing the apple. I think I would prefer to do the apple next, and then that way it kind of gives my purple some time to dry before I start working on all of the yellow. Although we do have to be really careful with all of that yellow, and if we've already painted a red apple, because yellow and red is going to make orange. So we have to be really careful when we're painting, and just make sure that you're using the appropriate brush size so that way you keep the paint where you want it, right? Okay, so we are going to switch back to the other camera, and to clean my brush, guys, this brush has to go all the way to the bottom of the cup. Really smush and swirl. Before you clean, though, if you want to paint the bottom of your canvas real quick while you have that color in your brush, you most definitely could. So we smush and swirl, and then no tap dancing. If we tap, 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 we're going to splash water where we don't want to. So instead we wipe on the inside of our cup, and then we use our paper towels and we can dry them off. And I just sweep it on the napkin to get it all dried off. Plus it gets any extra paint out of my brush that I did not want in there. All right, so, oh, that little guy's got to go in there too. So we need to think about our red, and you can most definitely leave the red like it is if you want to, or you could actually darken it up a little bit, and we'll talk about how to do that. But I'm having a thought. So I think I am going to use a little bit of white and a smidge of yellow, just a tiny smidge. Ooh. And you know how sometimes when you take a bite out of the apple, it starts to kind of yellow up a little. And so I just put the teeniest amount of yellow in there, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in with my baby brush this apple bite real quick, because I'm kind of having second thoughts on my red, just because all my purple right around my red is already dry. So, and right around all my yellow is pretty much dry. So honestly, it's better to do your yellow next if possible. That way we don't, you know, drag some red into our yellow and make orange on accident. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to wipe it. I'm going to dry it. And then now I can use, this is a little trickaroo here. I can use a little bit of purple and mix it with some yellow if you want to. You don't have to. And we can make more of a golden yellow. Isn't that nice? Okay, and then you can even put a pop of white in there to kind of soften it up some. Okay, this is nice instead of doing a bright yellow, but you can most definitely do a bright yellow if you want. Now I'm going to stick with my baby brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and start filling in. I know I said I was going to do red, but you know, us girls, we like to change our mind a lot. So I'm going to use my yellow and my baby brush, and I'm just going to go super slow and steady. I'm not in any kind of rush, and I'm going to get all of this filled in very carefully. So the reason I used purple into my yellow to darken it is because purple and yellow are complementary colors. So I can use them to darken each other. You can use yellow to darken purple or purple to darken yellow. Little trickaroo there. Instead of using black, it's really not a good idea to do black in most colors when you're darkening them because it does kind of mess up, sort of messes with the color a little. There we go. So I'm getting that all filled in. Ta-da. Like I said, just slow and steady. And this little brush is just the perfect size for filling in all of these spots with pretty much just one brush stroke. Just one sweep and it fills them in, right? Now, if you're trying to squeeze in a really tiny spot, use a super soft brush stroke, okay? And that's going to make a thinner line. The harder I push down with my brush, the thicker my brush stroke will be, or the thicker my line will be. So that's something to think about. There we go. Awesome. So like I said, slow and steady wins the race. All right. We are doing fabulous, my friends. I'm very proud of us. We go. If at any time your hand gets tired because you're like super focused, right? You could hop up, do a little stretch, maybe get you a drink, and give your, your brain a little break, give your hand a little break, and then come back to it. Ta-da! OMG, we're amazing, guys. So amazing. Right here, we're going to sweep right in there. Now, this area is a little thicker. So if possible, it's a good idea, like we did on the purple, to kind of outline first and then fill in. So outline and fill in. There we go. A lot of times, though, whenever it's kind of skinny like this, when you outline both sides, it does fill it in. Go. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. This is looking so good, guys. So, I love where we're going with this. Now, what we can do is we can start working on our D here just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to cheat a little and look back at my picture. OMG, sorry, guys. And I thought I had this ready. Okay. And here we go. So basically what we could do now is let's go ahead and do a little bit more yellow on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint the whole thing yellow, okay? Just go ahead and paint, not the whole thing, the D, not the apple. Okay, go ahead and paint this all yellow, just the same, whichever one you were using all along so far, continue using that one, okay? And then what we'll do is if you want to, I'm going to show you how to add a shadow. If you don't want to, you can leave it just like it is, but I wanted to make sure that I was teaching you what you expected. So that way, if you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. You might decide you like it just the way it is. Okay, so this is just the way it is. But if I wanted to kind of put a little pop of shadow in there, all I got to do is grab a little bit more purple, okay, darken this up just a little bit. Boopy-doop, boop, boop. Boopy-doop, boop, boop. There we go. Let's see if this is even noticeable. Is it even noticeable? Let's see. Right in here, I am putting on a little bit darker, but I don't know that y'all can tell that's darker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add even more purple. And you just gotta do a teensy bit at a time, guys, because once it's in there, we cannot take it out, right? Once it's in there, it's in there. So there's a little bit more. There we go. All right. There, that's probably more noticeable for you guys. So this bottom little chunk right here, and then this little chunk right there is also going to be shadow, okay? So then what we can do is, if you want to, if you don't want this to be purple and see-through, what you could do is make it darker gold, or this kind of darker golden color. But if you like it purple and see-through, then definitely leave it alone, okay? So totally up to you, your choice. Like I said, I'm just here to give you guys pointers and suggestions and options, and then you guys get to do with that information what you want to. You might even decide that you want to pop an even different color in there. Right? Okay. So now if I wanted to stay true to suit here, I could add a little pop of darker down there. So like on the bottom of everything, little pop of darker, little pop of darker, little pop, little pop, little pop, little pop, 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 pop. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, girls. And maybe boys, right? All right. Now again, only if you wanna. Just ideas. Okay. So it's kind of fun to add little pops of shadow like that because it gives it a little bit of depth, and I just think looks super nice. But it also looks super great just the way it is without adding any little shadows of depth in there. Oh, yes. Okay, so I got to clean my brush again really good. Really good. There we go. And it's up to you. Do you want to switch back to your big brush, or do you want to keep using a smaller brush? And what we're going to do is we're going to outline. There we go. Now, honestly, it's probably a great idea to do some of your outlining. Like, see how it's just sort of a tight squeeze in there, right? So maybe do some of your outlining with a smaller brush, and then actually fill in with the bigger brush. There we go. So fabulous. Now, a couple of things to think about when you're totally finished and everything is dry, your paint is 100% dry, you could most definitely use your Sharpie, your permanent marker that came with your kit, to retrace all of these black lines again, okay? What that does is it kind of just like brings it all back together and gets it all cleaned up and organized. I like to do that to almost all of my paintings. I wind up doing that too. So, but it's up to you. You might like it without the black lines and you just kind of like, you know, a little bit softer, smoother look to it. So that's up to you. We go. Now, as you're painting, if you're seeing any teeny tiny white spots peeking at you, that is basically the canvas like screaming at you, add more paint. So, something to think about. If you see those little bitty white spots, go ahead and add more paint to your brush so that way we don't see those. We go. Whew, sometimes whenever I'm trying to do something that's like really detailed, I get a little bit quiet because I'm totally focused. There we go. We're popping our way around. Slowly but surely. Pop it on around. Oh yes. There we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we got the whole inside outlined. We are amazing. So, the teensiest bit of white, I'm going to do, oh, too much. The teensiest bit of white. If I do too much white, it's going to definitely go pink. Right now, it's just a little bit softer. Okay, because I don't want to go pink. But if you want, over here on the right side, we can add this little bit of softer color so that it kind of gives it that shine over there. Okay, if you want to, you don't have to. Remember, super soft touch, very gentle. So we can keep our paint inside. Oh my goodness, there's a tight squeeze. There we go, right inside where we need it. Okay, I'm going to clean that pinkish color off now. Go back to regular red. I should have probably filled that in with my little brush earlier because that is too tight of an area to try to put a big brush in. There we go. Now I can switch back to my big guy and I can start filling this in. Very slow and steady. If you don't feel comfortable using your big brush, then definitely don't. Use a smaller one to fill in your apple, okay? And just take your time. We didn't just spend all that time outlining to like fly through and get it done, okay? Take your time. We go. Oh, yes. There we go. Okay, guys. So cute. Oh my goodness. Love, love, love it. So great. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is Anywhere that I see I might need a little bit of touch-up, now is the time. And then I'm going to clean my brush really good. Wash, 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 wash in the bottom of the cup. Gently hold on to your cup so you don't knock it over. No tap dancing. We wipe, wipe, wipe. Dry, dry, dry. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my baby brush again, get into the white paint. You don't have to do this, but if you want to, we can do just like some little pops of white on the opposite side of where we did our pops of dark. There we go. So this way, oh yes, it looks like there's some shine going on, right? Now, if you don't want to do this, definitely don't have to. Just an idea, just to give a little extra pizzazz, right? You can even make those fun little sound effects. Why not? Okay. Oh yeah, friends. Okay. And then because we did our lightish red or dark pink, however you want to think of it. There. Oh my goodness. My peeps, I love it. So cute. Okay. So that, my friends, is our Descendants apple, all totally finished and fabulous. If you have not painted the bottom yet, now is a good time to do it while you still have wet paint on your plate, the color that you need. And if there's any touch-ups to do, now is also the time. I had so much fun painting with you. I hope that you enjoyed the process. Definitely gonna have to check out some more of our art kits and paint with me again sometime. You guys have a wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful week, wonderful year, and I hope that I will see you again soon, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or in person. You guys be well, and remember, you are your own special artist, and only you know what's in your heart and how to get it out. So have a great time. See you soon.